YouTube! So today I'm going to be doing a story that is a little bit more intense, and this one actually happened, I promise. All of my stories have actually happened. I get that question a lot. I don't make up any of my stories. They all really happened at some point or another, and I tell them exactly how I remember them. So this one is a little bit closer to home. It's more focused on me, and it's pretty crazy, so bear with me. There's a lot of people in the story too. They're all relevant, I promise, so I gave them all names. So this was a story about the time that I got robbed in an empty park. So let's go. I went to go hang out with my current boyfriend, and we went over to his friends Avery and Nassim's house. And Avery and Nassim are brothers, but there were a lot of people there. And it was me, Imani, Leslie, Bay, Avery, Nassim, Robbie, and Vic and Morgan. Yes. So basically, all of Bay's friends live in Brooklyn, and they wanted to go to this basketball court. So they sat around playing video games for a while, and we ended up going to the basketball court after a couple hours. Nassim didn't come with us. I forgot what he had to do, but he didn't come, so we ended up taking the bus instead of him driving us. So while we were on the bus, Robbie and Vic noticed this group of guys that looked really shady. I don't really notice this kind of thing because I'm not very aware when I'm like out doing stuff. I almost always have like my headphones in. I'm just kind of like listening to my music or I'm reading a book. So I don't pay attention to the people around me, but probably should have. So we came off of the bus and we went on a different one because that's what they thought we should do. And I'm not from where they're from. I grew up in a totally different neighborhood, so I just did what they did. So the park that we had wanted to go to was the park that those shady looking guys had gone into. So Vic took us to a different park. So the guys are all playing basketball, and Imani and Leslie and I are just watching, and we're just kind of like chilling. Imani and I were both girlfriends, so we kind of had to be there. Leslie was just chilling, like we were all close and stuff. So we're just all relaxing, talking about whatever. The guys are playing basketball, and it was starting to get a little late. Like we had been there for a couple hours, so it's like nighttime. It's getting dark. And Robbie keeps telling us we have to leave, like he's getting a bad feeling. He wants us to, like leave, go somewhere else, go back to Avery's house, whatever. So he's trying to get us out, but Avery wanted to play Manhunt. Can I just say, I don't even know what Manhunt is, to be honest. Like, is it hide and seek, but in the dark? Because I feel like it's just adult hide and seek. I really don't know what the difference is, but whatever. We went to start playing because everybody was with it, but Robbie had really wanted to go. He was making me nervous because I'm not from the same neighborhood that they're from. So when he's over here talking about how it's like uncomfortable, he feels like something's gonna happen, like all that type of stuff, I was getting nervous. So I was like, all right, let's go. So we started packing up our stuff. Let me just give a little disclaimer before I start the story for real. So this night was probably the actual scariest night of my life, and I don't remember a lot from it. I am a suburban, born and raised, little ass girl from Long Island. Like nothing bad has ever happened like that anywhere I've been from. I've never seen a fight in person. Like my dad always taught me to walk away from dramatic situations before they get really dramatic, so that way I don't become an innocent bystander. This is very important to understand my reactions throughout this story. I came to the understanding that everything that really happened sort of began from my reactions and what I said and what I did, so it's basically my fault, but I just did not know how to react. Things don't get that real where I'm from, so I'm more careful now, but we can finish the story. So I bent down to pick up my stuff. My stuff was my wallet and my iPad mini, which were on the floor, and my laptop and my phone were in Bay's bag. So I'm bending down, and as I come back up, there are about 15 guys in these gray hoodies just standing around us, literally surrounding us. We were against the gate in the park, and they were just in a big semicircle around all of us. I didn't know who they were. So I asked a question. I piped up and asked, who were they? Nobody answered me, and everyone looked really uncomfortable. So I started asking questions. So I was like, do we know these people? Vic decided to tell me to shut up. So I got upset. I didn't understand the situation. All I know is I asked a simple question and I got attitude in response. I didn't say anything that warranted all that attitude as far as I had known. So looking back on it now, I kind of get why he was like that, but I know how I was feeling at the time. So I didn't know the situation. So I started going off on him. Like, I was really upset. I was just like, why are you telling me to shut up? Like, why are you talking to me like that? I don't even know you like that. You don't need to talk to me like that. Like, I was just going off on him, like, upset. So then he started yelling back at me, like, all type of stuff. I don't really remember what he was saying, but he was yelling all type of stuff back at me. And he started telling my boyfriend to control his girl. So then I got really angry because, like, who are you telling to control me? So I was just like, who are you really talking to? Like, you're not talking to me. You're not talking to him. Like, no, that's not how we're going to talk to each other. That needs to end. Like, we were going back and forth. So I kept going until Bae looked at me and told me to stop talking. Like, really calm. He just stopped talking. So that was when I realized it was really serious. And the guys in the hoodies started, like, getting really crazy, and they were, like, asking us for our stuff. And as soon as they said, like, you know, like, as soon as they started asking us for our stuff, my heart just dropped. Like, at the time, Imani and I were, like, really close. So I looked at her. She was stone cold silent, like, not talking, not moving, nothing. So our friends, our guys, they were trying to, like, explain our way out of it because they kind of saw that something was beginning and they didn't want anything to happen. So they started, like, trying to explain and, like, get us out of it and stuff. The guys started yelling and, like, getting crazy, and they were saying how they saw our phone lights from however far away and they knew that we had phones. And they started telling the guys to run their pockets. I didn't really know what this meant, so I had to look it up, but apparently it means to show them everything that's in your pockets. So I don't remember what the dialogue was between everybody, but I know that Vic and Morgan were the ones that were, like, speaking for us, like, on behalf of the group. They're both, like, really, like, built and, like, tough looking, I guess. So on my right, I just hear a noise and I look. Robbie got punched in the face by some guy. So everybody just started fighting and throwing all these punches. I started crying because I'm a huge baby. I cry about everything. Like, I feel like every story I'm ever going to tell you guys, at some point I'm going to say I started crying. So here I started crying. I'd literally never seen anything like this in my life. Like, one of them came toward me like he was about to punch me. So then Bae came in front of me and, like, caught the punch in his face. And that was when Imani and Leslie started pulling at me to get out the park. I didn't want to just leave him there, and I thought they had, like, guns or knives or something. I am really overdramatic. So I started freaking out. So they got me out of the park and we started walking, just the three of us, and they were busy asking people to use their phones to call the police. I was off in the corner, like, having a panic attack on somebody's car. But they called the police and the police never came. So I didn't know that actually happened. I thought that was, like, a running joke about Brooklyn or something, but that's a real thing. Like, they just never came. So we kept walking until we got to a gas station. And Leslie called Nassim because he had a car and his brother was in the fight. So as we were walking in, like, waiting in the gas station, people were looking at me, like, really crazy because I was just sobbing at this point. I didn't even care about my stuff. I just wanted everyone to be okay. So Leslie got a call from Morgan, and he told us that the guys were still following them, but they were out of the park and we needed to keep walking. So we walked for a while until they met us, like, at a point. Like, we were walking straight and they were coming in from, like, this direction, so we met. And everyone had taken at least one punch, like, to the face. So they were all, like, spitting blood, and, like, my boyfriend was really upset. Like, Vic was swearing revenge. He was talking about how he was gonna go tell his brothers what happened and send them after them and, like, that type of stuff. So he was on something. Morgan was really calm. Like, he was chill. Like, he just gave us all money to get home from there. Like, he was just kind of, like, talking everyone down, like, everyone's okay, we're all fine, like, we can replace our stuff, but, like, we're all fine, it's okay. Gave us all money to get home, like, it was whatever. And then Robbie was spitting blood and his face was, like, gigantic. Like, he had a big lump on his face. It was actually kind of funny, but, like, not at the moment. It was only after the fact that we were able to, like, laugh about it and stuff, but that happened. And then Avery just looked so afraid and I felt so bad. Like, he was the one I felt the worst about because he really looked scared. Like, he got hit and I felt the worst. He has such a little pretty face, so, like, I felt bad about it. But after my boyfriend calmed down enough to talk to me, he told me that everyone was okay and it was just some punches that landed. And he told me that they took my wallet and my iPad, but my laptop and my phone were safe in his bag. So I couldn't go home by myself because nobody that lived near me had been with us. Like, I know I talked about Jess and Q and Justice already. Like, they're my three friends that, like, live in my area that also, like, come and hang out with the group. they weren't there at the time, so I would have had to go home by myself, but Bae decided to take the train and the bus with me home. So I cried the whole way home because, again, I am a really big baby. And as soon as we got home, I brought him inside because he was getting ready to like go back home, and it's like, you're not going back home. Like, I was really scared. I felt like he was gonna die, so I didn't want to send him back out there again. Like, even though we were in my neighborhood, it's like really safe, I was just like traumatized. So I went and told my mom what happened. I feel like the way the whole conversation happened was kind of dumb though, because I went into her room and I was like trying really hard not to cry because I didn't want to like freak her out and like she'd never let me go back to where he is ever again. So I said, can you come into the living room so I can tell you something? She's like, what do you need to tell me? So I was like, should I wake up Dad because this is a pretty important thing? And she was just like, no, it's okay, let him sleep, what's wrong? So I told her like a quick rundown of everything that happened. Like, I was just like, we just got robbed in the park, my boyfriend took a punch to the face for me, and like he's in the living room hurt right now, and just all the like the little bits. I didn't tell her all the like extra parts. So she rolls over, wakes up my dad, and is like, go into the living room and talk to your daughter. So I'm over here like, didn't I just ask if we could go in the living room? And didn't I just ask if we could wake up my dad? Like, why did you do all the extraness? But whatever. He came into the living room to talk with me, and I felt like as soon as I opened my mouth to talk, like my throat just closed and it just hurt. So I just started crying, like sobbing. I was trying to talk, but it wasn't working. So Bae ended up having to speak for me, but they really appreciated the fact that he took that punch for me. So they let him stay the night because he was hurt. And then they tried to help fix up his mouth because it was really bleeding. Like, he kept saying he was fine and that he could talk and there was no problem, like, moving his mouth around and stuff. But he went to the hospital the next day just to check and make sure. And they told him that his jaw was broken. So they wired his mouth shut for a while and his face was literally huge. I am not even over-exaggerating. It was, like, this big, if that even makes sense. Like, it was huge. So they put a plate in it. I think that's what made it so big, because like it was like here, and then they put the plate in. It was like a big circle, like a big puff like this. It was crazy. So I felt really bad for the longest while, and I didn't want to be around his friends because I thought that they all hated me. And it turns out that it was forgotten about like a good couple days after it happened, but I was still really uncomfortable. Like, even now I'm still uncomfortable telling this whole story. I'm getting uncomfortable because it's just like, because it happened 2 weeks after he and I had started dating, so it looked really bad. And if any of them watch this video, they'll kind of like get an explanation as to why I don't come out that often. It's like still there, like, I don't know, I just feel like it caused a lot of issues and it was like my fault, so I don't really like, you know, talk about it or anything like that. But that's my story for this week. So I hope you guys liked it. It was pretty dramatic. So if you liked it, like the video, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, share it, all the stuff that I usually say at the end of the video. But I'm gonna see you next time, and bye!